Good evening, everyone. Hey, Tom Davis, back again in my series of interviews. This is one that I've really been looking forward to share with everybody. The Bednar family. We have Coach Andy, who was a former head coach at Mars and guy that I coached with for a few years and really enjoyed getting back into baseball and coaching with him and all the players and that we had at Mars. I have Will Bednar, who you're a sophomore now?
Sophomore, yep.
A redshirt.
Yep. But anyhow, he's pitching at Mississippi State. Kid has all the talent, a lot of tools, and it's going to be interesting to see all the adjustments he makes and what he's doing and moving in through the MLB draft and hopefully going from there. Then we have, if you slide it over, this is Danielle, and Danielle is still playing at Mars, and she is a Division I softball commit to St. Francis, PA. And what we're going to do is, we're going to start off, let the kids talk a little bit about themselves, give their backgrounds. And I'm going to start off with Will and, ask him to do that and then take us through his recruiting process. I mean, I got to see it up close and personal, and I've seen Danielle's not quite so up close, but knowing about it and talking about it with her dad and other people, and actually sent some stuff out on her behalf. But some interesting stories. And then when we get done, I'm going to have Andy talk about the oldest Bednar, David, who's a setup man closer in the San Diego Padre organization, who's been called up and pitched in the Padres major league games, and have Andy talk about his process going through recruiting to college, and then where he is now in his professional career. So to start it off, I'm going to go to Smiley. But tell you what, we've had a number of talks in the years I was there. I'm going to tell you one thing. This young man is a straight pitcher. I learned a lot about him from his younger years growing up, about that competitive nature and that bulldog mentality of going out on the field. And, the other thing is his work ethic. There's nobody that outworks this young man, and he has built a great foundation for himself. Will Bednar, you have the calm. Give us a little bit of your background and how things are going, and then let's talk about your recruiting process and coming from Mars, the Diamond Dogs, other teams you played with, to where you are now.
Yeah, so I've been playing baseball since I can remember, and I've been playing up through Little League and up the freshman year and up through high school and into college, and I played for the Pittsburgh Diamond Dogs in the summer. I'd say I kind of started to make some jumps velocity-wise as a sophomore in high school. I didn't really throw super hard as a freshman, but kind of between that freshman and sophomore year, started to kind of work out a little bit more, get in the weight room a little bit. And I really saw some jumps kind of in the winter of my sophomore year. And that kind of put me on the radar a little bit. There's a video of the first time I hit 89 as a sophomore in high school, and that's probably what really put me on the radar more than anything. So that's when things kind of started to blow up for me a little bit. And even throughout the high school season, that's kind of where a lot of the recruiting stuff happened. And then that summer was pretty big for me too, playing with the Diamond Dogs, and then even going down to Fort Myers, Florida, kind of towards the end of the summer, and playing with the Evo Shield Canes in Fort Myers. And kind of that summer was whenever most of the recruiting stuff was big for me. So I ended up committing to Ohio State the fall of my junior year, and I was committed there up to the summer after my junior year. I ended up decommitting.
Let me just interrupt. You were verbally committed to them, right?
Verbally committed, yeah. So I ended up decommitting. It was kind of a tough family decision, kind of thinking about the potential for some other opportunities to come up. So it was a tough decision, but I think in the long run it definitely worked out for me. So the first big event of that summer was the PG National. I went there and showed out pretty well, and that's where I got a lot of I guess love from the recruiting standpoint. So things started to really blow up again there, and then just playing through the summer with the Diamond Dogs, and then the next probably the next big event would have been I got to play at Fenway against a team from the Cape, the Orleans Firebirds. So I threw an inning. I kind of shoved a little bit, but I threw a good inning there. And after that, next big one was East Coast Pro, and then area codes after that. And both of those are pretty big for a lot of schools to see me, and I got a lot of love there. I ended up using my official visits to visit a couple of schools. I visited Alabama when I was at East Coast Pro. I saw Mississippi State kind of towards the end of the fall. I used the official to go down there and check it out. And then we also saw Wake Forest on an official, and we went down there a few times. So at the end, those are the three I was really kind of looking at. That's what I had it narrowed down to. And, just thinking about the potential for competition and just the stadium at Mississippi State, I couldn't pass that up. So that's kind of how it happened with me.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I'm just going to ask a couple questions before going on to Danielle. You verbally committed early to Ohio State, and that's a big thing. It was right after your sophomore year, correct?
Yeah, it was the fall of my junior year.
Yep. And, can remember, sophomore year, it's funny because you say it, well, I started seeing a lot of love and everything when I'm throwing 89 miles an hour. And I can remember the social media, everybody on baseball. Hey, here it is. This young sophomore's throwing 89 miles an hour and everything like that. And, striking out everybody and doing well. And then I can remember, junior year when, we start getting reports about 95 and 96 and stuff like that on the gun, and just how everything, from there, then it's all about, hey, now we're looking at draft slots, this, that, the other. Talk a little bit about how hard that is to, be getting all this praise, stay grounded, do everything that you needed to do, communicate with schools and that. And I know that you were starting to look toward the draft and everything, just like you are now. I'll ask you next about the high school draft, your senior year, and that, and what corresponded there. But just talk a little bit about keeping it grounded and keeping everything, between the lines and that.
Yeah, I think, keeping a level head throughout it all was really key for me. Just kind of staying grounded in who I am and, who I am as a pitcher. I try not to get too high with the highs or too low with the lows. And that's something that Dave, who's played a long time in pro ball, has really stressed to me. So that's kind of something I took throughout the whole recruiting process and even through the draft stuff, is that, if it happens, it's great. But if it doesn't, keep working and look for the next opportunity. So just kind of taking it one day at a time and getting better 1% every day.
So, junior year, you're really, really big time, and then you play in the summer, and then we come to senior year. you're going to Mississippi State. The draft is, people were talking to you about that and everything. We go down to Myrtle Beach, and first game that you're throwing down there, I can remember you coming off the mound and seeing a tear in your eye, just like a little tear in your eye. And I'm like, what's wrong? And you said, my shoulder and this, that, and the other. Talk about what happened and getting through that. I mean, from where you are and then worrying about that. Talk about getting through that stage your senior year.
Yes, I was pretty tough, having some shoulder issues, but it really just at the kind of the end of the day ended up just being like a real kind of small, like nagging inflammation issue. And I really didn't want to try to push it kind of going through the senior year, especially with the opportunity to go to Mississippi State. So we kind of just decided to rehab it and just get strong to go to school.
Great. I appreciate it. And you know what? Like I said, you made us proud and everything of everything that you did. I know your dad is excited for where you'll be, and I follow you, and anything that I can still ever do for you, all you got to do is make a phone call and that, and that's maybe with no high school games, maybe I'll head down and get down to Mississippi and get to take you in down there. Now I want to switch over to Danielle. I will tell you what, she's a sweetheart. She puts up with a lot in this family. And I will tell you, I'm just so excited for her to go and play D1 softball at St. Francis, PA. I'm going to introduce her, and I'm going to let her tell a little bit about herself and her recruiting process in softball. Danielle, you got it.
Yeah, I got my story probably isn't as interesting as that one. I don't have all those, all the whatever, but so I'm playing with Team PA. I'm a junior. I'm a shortstop, third baseman, outfield, kind of wherever they need me. And I mean, as of like the boys, I started when I was little. And I think even from a young age, I knew I wanted to play. I mean, like you said, Will's one of the hardest workers, and he is to me, obviously, both the boys. I just look up to both of them so much. And, you get to see them do all these things, and you're like, man, like I want to be like them. And I think that was probably one of the biggest things for me growing up, is I got to see them go through that process. And I always thought that was so interesting. And I always want to just make them proud too. So I think that was a big thing. And that's why I work as hard as I do. And so, yeah, so I'm with Team PA now. And then for recruiting wise, I'm a junior. So this was kind of like the first year we could even start talking to coaches. So I remember it was like September 1st is the day you can get calls and whatever. And I remember that the night before, my travel coach texted me. She's like, hey, you have a call at St. Francis tomorrow. I was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, how, me? And she was like, yeah, you, like, because she played there and the other head of the organization also played there, and they absolutely loved it. Nothing but great things to say. So I have a call with the St. Francis coach that day. It went so well. Me and the coach immediately hit it off. It was just the best phone call. I loved her energy and everything, and I loved what she kind of stood for as a coach. And then the following Friday, I had a virtual visit because, you can't really go or whatever. And so that was tough. And then we ended up going to campus just my parents and I, just to walk around, kind of see what it was about. And I called the coach a couple more times and with that time, and I was just kind of like, I think this is it. It's a small field, and that's exactly what I wanted. I think I always wanted a school where I was going to be somebody, that they really cared about me. And I never really wanted to go to a big school where you're just another number. And the coach really just said, we are really just, we have your best interest. And even the professor I got to talk to on my virtual visit was like, there aren't many universities that care for our students as much as we do. And he just said it's smaller and you're going to get that feel where we just care about you so much. And I think from there it was kind of like, this is it. And they've won their conference past couple of times. And I love the coach and everything. And I just thought this was a perfect fit.
Yeah, you say perfect fit. And you know what? So many of the coaches that I'm talking to, the college guys, and what I say to people, we want to find that right fit for you. And, high level of play, great academics to take care of. And the thing is, I mean, you fell in love. And the whole thing is, when if you weren't playing softball there, you could probably see yourself, this is where you wanted to be because you like the school and everything about it. Am I correct?
Oh, yeah.
And that's awesome. So I want to ask you, you see so many girls and all that verbally committing early and everything like that. Were you starting to get a little nervous?
This is funny. Not really. I always it was a little bit. I think why I was nervous was just kind of the COVID stuff, really, because they weren't allowed to see us our summer. It was all through video. And even so right now, still for dead periods, I could only talk to my coach on the phone. And I think there was a big part of that was a little nerve-wracking, but at the end of the day, it all happened for a reason, and it happened the way it should have. And I'm so grateful and thankful for how my process kind of turned out.
I see the horse has now joined the
He
pitch.
had a big
He wanted some love. He wanted some love.
Here, Mook. Come here.
Yep, we got Mookie too.
Here, boy. Come here. Come on up. Here you go. He says, and for all of you guys, it's funny. I mean, I've always been a dog lover and had dogs, and Andy and his family have always wanted one. And they have a dog named Moose who's young and is an absolute horse. So Mookie and him would have just an absolute time playing and frolicking.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's cool. I'm going to jump to you now, Coach.
All right.
And want you to talk. See you guys. And just have you talk about, David. David's your oldest son. Tremendous baseball player, tremendous talent. Talk about David. Tell us how old he is and give a little background, and talk about Dave's recruiting process, which was different than these.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Dave's 26 years old right now, and he attended Lafayette College. And I'll talk a little bit about the pro stuff after, but his path, his recruiting process was really an interesting story. Definitely not the most heavily recruited guy in the area out of high school. He probably, his senior year, he's probably sitting 86, 89, right in that range. But the junior year, and we'll probably talk about the baseball recruiting process, junior year, probably 84, 86, right in that range, and was a really good pitcher. He won some big games for us, and he was our guy. And the other interesting thing that helped him a lot, he didn't pitch a whole lot for us as a sophomore. And we had a pretty good staff that year, and he was actually the catcher. And I think that kind of saved some bullets for him as he went into his junior year, had a really good year. And then his senior year, and he too also played for the Pittsburgh Diamond Dogs. And he had it down to 3 schools. He had it down to Seton Hill, Mercyhurst, and then Lafayette was kind of on the fence. And the story behind that was really interesting was Lafayette had a scholarship out to a guy that was waiting to hear from an Ivy League school. So it was kind of like we were waiting to hear if this kid got into an Ivy League school, he was going to the Ivy League school. And he got in, which freed up some baseball money for David to go to Lafayette. So that was really, you hear all the guys committing early. He was October of his senior year.
Wow.
So, I mean, I think that's a sign for some people that it doesn't have to be freshman year that you commit. You know, things worked out pretty well for him committing in the fall of his senior year.
Yep. So he you know does tremendous in high school. You know, I know his background, gets into Lafayette. You know, where he is now in the majors. He's a setup man and a closer and everything like that. Probably a little different than everything that he was at Lafayette. Talk a little bit about how he was in college to where, you know, then you know, he gets picked up and where he is now with the Padres.
At Lafayette, he was a weekend guy probably from day one. I think he had I think they played 3 or I can't remember if they had 4-game series, but I want to say that he was one of the Sunday starters and had a really good career there. And I think what really got him on the radar was some of the summer leagues he played on. Between freshman and sophomore year, he played for the Butler Blue Sox in the Prospect League, had a really good summer there. And then what really put him on the map was the following summer, between sophomore and junior, he pitched for the Edenton Steamers, and they actually won the Coastal Plains League. And I want to say that year, they were voted one of the top summer teams. They were loaded with really good players. Mick Fennell from the area, he was on that team. And they probably had about 6 or 7 guys drafted that following year. But anyway, so he was he goes through his junior year, has a pretty good year. And then the draft comes around, and he probably was invited to only one pre-draft workout for the Padres. And he wasn't sure how it was going to go, and had a temp contract for the Cape. So he goes to the Cape, and it was kind of funny. I forget where he was, and they just told him, hey, make sure you keep your phone on all the time. And they were in a place with really bad cell phone reception. So here he is out in the bullpen, and you know, he got the call that he was picked in the 35th round by the Padres, and it's just what an incredible fit to hear your name called, regardless of, you know, whatever round that you're selected. And that summer, we thought he was going to come home right after the Cape, and he had to fly straight to Peoria, Arizona to get a physical and all that stuff. And then before you know it, after that, he was sent to Pasco, Washington to play for the Tri-City Dust Devils. And he had a really, really good, like, 2-3 weeks there. And he was immediately shipped to Low A in Fort Wayne. And what was ironic, when he was shipped, we were there. So we were there for about 4 or 5 days. And then we had plans on being there for about 10. And he gets shipped to Fort Wayne, which is only about 4.5, 5 hours from Pittsburgh. So he did really well at Fort Wayne. And then he spent the following year at Fort Wayne and Lake Elsinore, which is their high A. And then the following year started at Lake Elsinore, ended up in San Antonio, which was their double A. And then the following year started in their new double A facility at Amarillo. And it was from there that he got called up in September of 19 for his first show in the show.
Before we get into the other things, just, you know, you've done stuff at high levels. Your kids have. I mean, I played. People around him did and everything. Talk about, you know, I know that he's had good people in his ear about, you know, every level, you know, going from high school to college to you know, low A, high A, double A, and everything. It's always an adjustment. It's like you got to make the adjustment. There's going to be, you know, different talent, different stuff there. Just talk a little bit about, you know, some of the things that you put in his head, and that get good people put in his head as far as doing that and keeping his thinking right, because I know he's just like a great thing for Will to sit there and guide him through these next couple of years.
I think the one constant for him through all this, throughout high school, college, and pro baseball, was his work ethic. And, that's been the constant. You're going to be playing against better guys at every level, and whatever it is. I remember his jump from low A to high A. He said the guys were way more selective at the plate, but he just always kind of hung to the fact that if you get guys out, they're going to find a place for you at the next level. Sure. And I think his philosophy is really filling up the zone and attacking hitters. And that's the one thing that, Frank Marigliano really put in his ear. And, as us coaching together, that's one thing that we really, really preach is attacking hitters, not being passive, using your strengths. And I think he's really stuck to that. And the other thing that was really helpful to him was he spent one of his falls for about 3-4 weeks with Hideo Nomo. And Hideo Nomo helped him develop that third pitch, because he was a 2-pitch guy coming out of Lafayette, fastball, curveball. And, once they see 2 pitches, they think bullpen is what they think when they see that. And he spent about 3 weeks with Hideo Nomo, and he really developed that third pitch. And I think that really put him in that next potential level to get to pro ball, to the major leagues.
Absolutely. Well, I know that the kids and you sharing David's stories and all that are some really good information. And like I said, going through stuff at different levels and everything now. Want to sit there and pick your brain, Coach, and have you give some insights. Just give me a little bit of your background and everything. I know it and everything, but let our audience and people know that I'm going to be sharing this with, a little bit of your background, and then we'll get into some recruiting stuff.
Sure, absolutely. I grew up in McKees Rocks. I attended Stowe Rocks High School, and after high school, I attended Cornell University, and always wanted to be an engineer. At Cornell, I played both baseball and football. And when I got out of school, I had the engineering degree. I went to work for about 6 or 7 years, but always had a passion to teach and to coach. So went back, got certified to teach, and then I ended up at Mars High School. And I've been involved with the baseball program there for the past 22 years. This past year, I stepped down to be able to watch Will, David, and Danielle, and I've been fortunate enough to coach with you, and just an incredible experience having you on staff, and really actually keeping me sane when Will was on the mound. But it was we were really lucky to have you these last couple of years, and we've had some really good teams, and it was a really good run, and going to the Whitfield Championship twice. We were in the state finals, state quarterfinals the one year, and then the year before that we made it to the state playoffs. So it was kind of just getting us moving, and it was just it was a lot of fun coaching with you, and it was obviously some championships would have been nice, but it was a good last couple of years. But and then I've also coached with the Pittsburgh Diamond Dogs, and I even helped the Allegheny Pirates a fall or two.
Awesome. When you were at Mars, it doesn't have to be a real number, but how many kids do you think coming out of the program at Mars when you were involved, you think that got to the next level?
Oh boy, I would. Definitely probably 30 players or so that played college baseball. We actually, we had one guy, DJ Cannon, who's actually the head coach at Chatham right now. He's, it's really good to see that. And there's just some stories, some guys that you remember, and in the business you're in with the recruiting, and it happens so many different ways.
Sure.
We've had guys that committed as freshmen. We've had guys, that David, case in point, senior year things fell through. We had a kid, Ty Reginelli, went to Wofford, and it didn't happen till the middle of the school year, senior year. So everyone's path, like you said, is different. You know what I mean? There's no cookie cutter process for recruiting. And the most important thing is just to really just stay the course,
Exactly. I say that a lot. Patience. Do your work. Research everybody that talks to you. Communicate with them. Be proactive. Be aggressive, and go after everything. And our past few years. When you stepped down, I did. Grandson was born and everything. I actually got talked into Rawlings. Yeah, I miss being on the field and everything like that. Somehow, you and I might hook up one last time before it's all over.
Yep.
And that. But wanted to talk to you. You've been a high school coach. You've been involved with travel ball. You've been involved with the Allegheny Pirates. And another thing that I could put out there is Andy was huge with WPIL, baseball and their showcases and everything like that. So from a high school, when you look at recruiting, and you know what? Everybody is going to sit there and say different and stuff. I'm actually going to do an interview tomorrow with a West Virginia travel coach, and they are under the assumption, and what they like to say is, while you're involved with the high school, you should be allowed to practice and meet and do everything with your summer teams. And we had our philosophy on it and everything like that. Just talk a little bit about that. What your thoughts are, and what the role of the high school and the travel coaches is as far as recruiting wise.
In today's day and age, the high school coach, when he's with that kid during the spring season, what are most colleges doing? They're in the heart of their season, and it's awfully tough to coaches are real busy with their season and everything like that. But there are some things I think that a high school coach can definitely do. I think helping that player send out some emails, and I think starting the video process as well, getting that video done, and then probably more important than both of those things, just really emphasizing the importance of good grades, because
Absolutely.
That stuff is going to carry you a lot farther, once the baseball playing days are over. And as some schools that are able to stack and give both academic and athletic money, I think that academic money sometimes goes farther than the athletic money. So I think it's important that you lay the groundwork and build the foundation for that in your kids. And one of the things that I really emphasize with the videos, all you're trying to do is just paint a picture. You're trying to show your best skill sets. And
Exactly.
One of the things that Frank Brigliano did at the Diamond Dogs is, he really emphasized that with obviously all my kids, and then a lot of the players that we've coached in the summer, just trying to get some preliminary videos out to college coaches, and just to kind of get guys on the radar. I think that's really important for the high school coach. And then more of the dialogue. I think your summer and travel coaches are able to talk to those college coaches when they have more free time available. And, I think it's really important just letting those guys know when, for example, when your pitchers are going to pitch, what position guys are playing, where you're going to be. And it's also important for the player to take initiative. One of the things that I made David do every single day was send out an email to a school. Send an email, attach your video, and just so you're moving forward every single day. You know what I mean? And I'll be honest with you, that's how the Lafayette thing really worked out. We just sent something out there. We knew it was a good academic school, and they were looking for some arms, so that worked out. But like I said, the high school coach can definitely get things going with reaching out to that coach for the first time and maybe getting helping make that video and getting that video out there as well.
Cool. Want to ask you now, and just finish up a little bit. Pennsylvania baseball. I'll tell you what. I mean, when we were there at Mars, and I've coached in different levels and classifications and everything like that. I have my thoughts on where everything is. Pennsylvania baseball as a whole right now. You see, I mean, you've been around, you see players, just say the same as me and everything like that. Where do you think Pennsylvania stands baseball-wise right now?
I definitely think we're on the uphill movement. It's getting better. The caliber of player that we have is getting better. And I think that's more of a function from just all the training that's out there right now and what's available, and all the technology with the Rapsodos and the TrackMan, and from a hitting perspective, the exit velocities and stuff like that. And I think it's a lot easier to get that data out to those SEC coaches. And there's some definitely think about the players now from the WPIAL that are heading to some SEC and ACC schools. I mean, the numbers are really growing right now. And I think a lot of that to do is the caliber of play that they're seeing. And then, a lot of the teams are getting to tournaments that a lot of the big time coaches are going to be there. And I think that definitely is playing a role in how we're seeing a lot of our guys going to, some of your Power 5 type schools.
Cool. I really agree with you and can see it. And just from talking to coaches, I mean, they're aware of it and everything too. Well, Andy, I appreciate, as always, anytime I get to speak to you and the family and everything like that. And I wish you nothing but a great Christmas. I know that we'll be talking as we do all the time. And, if you ever need anything, know that you can call on me, and I know I can do the same with you. And I think that, hearing the kids' stories and getting some insight from you as a high school travel coach and, going through different processes and everything like that has been some great information. So you take care, big guy. I'm gonna end this now, and the boss wants to say something to you when we end.
Awesome. Take care.
All right.
Thank you.